What's up, Markerheads? It's Karen from Art by Karen E. Haley, and welcome to my Creative Workspace. Let me show you around my happy place. I've filled this room with bright, happy colors and things that I enjoy, and I spend a lot of time in here. Any spare time that I can get, I'm in here illustrating, making crafts and miniatures, and filming. And so I've made this an environment that inspires me and gives me that creative juices that I need to feel motivated to make something for you guys to enjoy. It's taken me years to work up to this space, to work up to the amount of supplies that I have. So just so you know, I'm 27, or at least I'm going to be 27 very soon. So it's taken me a long time to build up all of this stuff, and just last year I was working from a desk in my mother-in-law's dining room. So this is a major improvement in terms of me feeling comfortable and having the privacy I need to create. So don't feel bad if your space does not compare to mine necessarily, because you never know when you will have your situation improve. And for me, I'm very, very thankful that I finally have a permanent place to call my own for my space, for my art, and all of my junk that I need to make my art. So I'm gonna focus on the desk for this tour because it's where most of my things are stored, and it's where I do most of my illustrations for the channel. I want to start at one end where the dollhouses are and work my way around to the other side. So that's where we're going. So this is the area where I keep my work in progress dollhouse and all of its parts. If you're curious to what I'm going to make it into, it's going to be a bakery. And I also keep my clay oven and my pasta machine that I use for my polymer clay projects. And I also have some file tools and a very large ruler and some skinny lumber for my dollhouse's details. So this is where I like to keep this stuff, but I usually work on it where I work on my artwork. So now let's move on to where most of my time in this room is. This is my drawing surface, and I always keep my most important project here, and it's usually a little more messy. Currently I'm working on a storybook about a steamroller. This is my first personal project that's going to be published, so stay tuned for videos of its illustrations and things like that. I'm really excited about this project. I light my work area and my videos with this light here, which clamps to my desk and has two flexing points, and I mount my camera on this here tripod. This is a fancy tripod I will show off more in my future video about my filming setup, but I also will clamp a light to this tripod when I need more light in my room. And here is my planner. And I have a little thing of planner supplies. I prefer lined journals to do my planning. It leaves a lot more room for custom pages. In this little box I like to keep things like washi tape and post-it notes, things like that that are fun to stick in a planner. It actually needs to be replenished because I've used all my stickers. But that's why I have this little box here. And I really like this little box. I got it at Harbor Freight and it was full of sewing supplies. So over here, I like to keep my favorite art supplies. This is where my main illustration tools are kept, such as my Copic markers and refills, some colored pencils, paintbrushes, and various other pens like Sharpies, multi-liners, Staedtler Tri-Plus file liners. Those are some of my very favorites. All sorts of stuff is stored here. I attached my Copic cases to the wall with nails, but I would recommend, if you're going to do this, to use screws, because the nails have come loose on my setup. However, it's actually pretty easy to do because the cases have little holes in the bottom in each corner built in, so you can just stick a screw right in there and it'll stick to the wall. I really like the way that they look when they're on the wall as well. I have all kinds of paintbrushes, from watercolor paintbrushes, acrylics, oils, whatever. I don't even do oil painting, I just have some oil paint brushes, but whatever. And here's some figurines. Some I've made, some viewers have made, and a bunch of them are just little vinyl toys, including a pooping dog. In this drawer I have some erasers and pencil leads, and in this drawer is where I keep my Prismacolor Premieres, which is one of my favorite outlining tools, and also some sharpening tools, some erasers, and yeah. And over here I have one of my travel sketchbooks. This is my favorite size of sketchbook because I can take it pretty much anywhere. And this one is one I started in September. This is my most used reference book because I draw a lot of Pokemon. And this is one of my other travel sketchbooks, which is completely full. And I have full flip-throughs of this book in case you're interested. So the storage shelf that's sitting on my desktop is packed with stuff. Sitting on the top of my shelf is a display that has a bunch of miniature cakes that I've made. I love to make miniature food, as you will soon see. I have a lot of supplies for this. And I also keep a print for my one marker challenge up here because it's one of my favorite illustrations that I've done. So let's get started on looking at everything that's in this shelf, because there's a lot. So the first thing we're going to dive into is my watercolors. The palette on top is a Rigger palette that I did a review on in a previous video, so if you want to check that out, go ahead and check it out. The paints are Sennelier paints that were sent to me by a viewer, and I went ahead and mixed a palette based on the 3 colors that were in this little sample pack. Here it is right here. This is what they came in. Thank you so much, Halo Wolf Crafts on Instagram, for sending me this awesome set of paints. I've thanked them before, but I'm going to thank them again. And this is where I had my old palette, which was my Reeves paints. The basket has loose paint in it, and this is my favorite fine line masking fluid pen. I love it for watercolors. It's great. In this blue box, we're going to see the graveyard of broken electronics. Yeah, we don't need to discuss how I dropped that 3DS in the toilet, because it's just too painful. Here's some printer paper. Photo paper, I mean. Yay! The top drawer in this here shelf has pastel, white, and black cardstock in it. And the second drawer has figure sculpting supplies, so armature wire, some wire cutters and benders, and foil and the like. And this is a stippling brush for texture. It's for something else. Anyway, and this is the sad drawer where everything that has no home goes. So things like pictures or like all these bookmarks that I don't use anymore. Yeah, that's where they go. So down in the bottom right corner of this shelf I have nail care supplies in a Copic refill case lid. These are Jamberry wraps inside this pouch. They are for your fingernails. This pouch is empty. And I have some nail polish remover and the Jamberry mini heater, which basically activates the adhesive on the vinyl fingernail wraps. And I like to use it. I like to use the nail wraps. They last a lot longer than nail polish. This box is full of stuff and totally needs to be reorganized because I've been reusing this stuff recently, but it's got cute cookie cutters and textures for making polymer clay stuff. And here is my large collection of nail polish. Someone handed down their nail polish collection to me, so I have a lot of stuff in here that I've never used before. Now let's have a look in the middle top shelf. This is where I keep all of my clay and molds for miniature making. I really like to use the silicone mold putty. I hardly ever use molds anymore, but if you were going to make them, I would recommend that stuff. This is where I keep all of my polymer clay. Like I said, I've been using my polymer clay stuff a lot recently, so it's a little unorganized and messy. And in the bottom drawer is where I keep scrap clay. This stuff is like rejects from clay canes and stuff that's fallen on the floor and is now only able to be used as filler. So let's pass by Party Cow and her pal Xerneas on our way to look into my work in progress file. All my unfinished art is in here waiting to be completed. I have a lot of fun stuff in here that I've been wanting to work on. mostly Pokemon, and also these little characters that are in here. You'll see those in just a second. I love this little Bulbasaur. He's so cute. And this is a sketch of a girl hugging her Charizard. I have kind of abandoned this one, but I need to revisit it. Here they are. These are the little characters that you will be seeing a lot more of on my channel. I kind of did a little thing on Instagram where I took suggestions from people for what kind of animals to use as characters, and these are the results, and I really like them. And here's Pikachu, and this picture that I've had sitting around like forever. I really need to work on. In this set of drawers, I have printer paper in the top. So much printer paper. And in the middle, I have charcoal drawing supplies, which they're for school mainly. I don't really use these except because of school. So I have some vine charcoal, charcoal pencils are in that middle tin. I have some blending stumps right here. I have, what else is in here? A nice little eraser is in here. I like these are great. And I also have some chamois, which are like pieces of soft leather. The bottom drawer here is full of measuring and cutting tools, all sorts of scissors, rulers, saws, blades, and stencils are in here. And these items get a lot of use, which is why I keep them down low so that I can turn around and grab them while I'm sitting in my chair. Makes it really convenient. I have a lot of these kinds of things for various uses, such as cutting with an X-Acto knife or sawing wood for my dollhouse. Lots of different things, so I have a lot of different cutting and measuring tools. Alright you guys, we're over halfway through. Thank you so much for sticking with me. We're gonna finish up this section of the shelf and then move on to under the desk. So here we go. This is a little tray, another Copic marker case lid, and it has some vitamins in it, and also some nice smell good lotion. And this yellow box has my acrylic paints. It has this neat little palette with space for paint pots in it, which I think I have one in here. Boop, there it is. And I don't know where the rest are. There's a bunch missing. I have a piece of clayboard in here just waiting for me to test it out. And I have some acrylics, some Dollar Brownie brand, some golden retarder, which makes the paint wet longer. I have some Liquitex paints, and that's about it. In this blue container, I have my soft pastels. These are chalk pastels, and I love them. These are Grumbacher brand. They were my grandma's, and she had them for years and didn't use them. So she gave them to me, and I've used them a lot because they are a miniature artist's best friend. These are the colors that are in here, by the way. And they are super pigmented. They are great for making miniature food look realistic, so I really like them. I also have some Artist Loft brand grayscale soft pastels, and this little Jamberry box is full of empty boxes, and this is where I keep my sole, one and only 3DS game. It's the only game I ever had for my 3DS before I dropped it in the toilet. And where I keep names for my characters, because sometimes if I'm not sure what I'm going to draw, I just pick a name out of there. In this drawer, I have work in progress clay projects. Everything from wedding cakes to this turkey, and I will admit that these are some of the same things that I think might have been in my last room tour from 2014, or 2015, so there's that. Sometimes my work in progress stuff sits for a while. And this is where I have liquid clay. Some of this stuff is pre-mixed stuff that I've made. I have some cornstarch for my polymer clay molds, And I have a towel to wipe up if I make a mistake with this stuff. And I also have clay softener, which is more liquidy than the translucent liquid Sculpey. The Sculpey stuff, this stuff mixed with the clay makes saucy sort of stuff, like condiments and things like that. And this is the drawer where I put stuff that I find that I think would be useful in miniature scale. So stuff like random lids. These are Hot Wheel packets, which would be great for cake displays. All sorts of stuff. You can really make a miniature thing out of a lot of small things, which is why I just went with, if I find something random that I think, oh, this is pretty small, I'll chuck it in here. And some of the stuff I save, like, I don't even know why I'm hanging on to it, but I do. So that's that. In here, in this little box, is where I keep my card sleeves. So if I make a trading card, I will slip it in here. This used to be where I kept my Pokemon cards, actually, but now they're in a binder. This is where I keep my, like, cheaper craft paint, so stuff that, like, you buy at the Walmart in the craft paint aisle. That's where this stuff is. And I have matte finish stuff. I even have some glitter paint. I like the glitter paint, it's kind of fun. And I even have some soy-based paint because I wanted to try it out. And in this blue box, oh, we're almost done, you guys. This blue box has the stationery stuff that I use for sending letters to people. And this is kind of like the tail end here. This little drawer shelf here has my glitter collection on top and some random stuff, like not even worth looking at. And this is where my hot glue is. These are actually my mom's hot glue guns. She just left them here, so I've been storing them there. And then this is where my hot glue gun is and my cold glue. And this is my favorite of 2016, puffy paint. I love that stuff, it's so much fun. And this is a hole puncher. I really like this hole puncher, and it's cute. And these clamps are very useful for all sorts of stuff, like holding your miniature house together while it's drying with glue. That's what that's for. And I even have some beads, because you know I just don't have enough hobbies at all. Oh, and this is where my printer lives, because I don't use it anymore, because I switched to Redbubble. I don't sell stuff on Etsy anymore. Over here is my desktop computer, and this I wanted to show you is the program I use to edit my videos. I actually don't use this desktop very often to edit videos, so that's that. And that was my desk tour, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really had so much fun cleaning up my room and getting it ready to take you guys through it. Again, I want to mention that I am almost 27. It's taken me many years to build up my supplies, and I don't want you guys to feel discouraged because I've got so much stuff. It's not like I went out and bought it all yesterday. It's stuff that I've been saving for literally like a couple decades at this point. Some of this stuff I've had since I was very young, so I hope that you guys really enjoyed this as much as I did. I love this space. I have so much fun in here making stuff, and it's a great retreat at the end of a rough day. So I really appreciate you guys coming in here and checking out my room and all my fun stuff, and I hope to see you guys in a future video. Bye!